And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Alien Spaceship stream. You'll be watching from anywhere around the country or the world, and I appreciate everybody very much. And tonight we are going to be talking about some additional things with aliens and things like that. This time there's not going to be any game because it needs to be updated, but we are going to now switch over to the other screen. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the spaceship stream. It's me, Alien Spaceship, and I hope everybody's been having a great weekend so far. Hello, Frog. It's good to see you, buddy. I hope that you've been having a good weekend. So, basically, we were talking about an alien sighting that happened in the 80s, which that was pretty fun to do. Now what we're going to be doing is, as I said, we're going to get right into this stuff because the game needs to be updated. Now, going over to this, let's see if it still remembers this. I'm going to have to just close this out and then bring it back. Alright, so be closing this out. And the cat's in the background, shouts at the cat, yeah. So, it was an alien incident that happened in the 80s. And they saw a UFO that resembled a giant diamond. That's what it looked like. So, in this incident that occurred, it was very hot, and they were quite frightened by it. They didn't really know what to think of it. So, what we'll be doing is going to be just using the other browser because it doesn't really remember that one, so we're gonna have to go here. Okay, and now just right here. I'm going to go here. All right, there it is. All right, so basically this incident that you see right here, I'm gonna move it so you could see it, Frog. There is this diamond-shaped UFO. And it was something we were talking about yesterday. And this family of people, this family was looking at, they were driving down a road. So, and they saw that thing flying in the air. And it got close to their car. And it heated the car up so much. It caused them to allegedly have health issues because of radiation. And the son, he's still alive. And we will try to see what we can about having him come on the show to talk about it. His experience. We're going to see about doing that. So as I said, there's many different types of UFOs, and this is an alleged UFO sighting where you have, as I said, looks like a diamond, and there's a theory that one of my people on YouTube came up with that I know from another chat that it could be a quartz crystal, and that's what's being seen or being used as a power source. His theory is that it's part of a bigger UFO that's attached to it, but they can't or don't conceal that part for some reason. Or it has something to do with a quartz crystal, perhaps. So that was an interesting theory about it. Just kind of going over what we reviewed yesterday. A brief overview about it is the Cash Landum incident was unidentified flying object sighting in the United States in 1980, which witnesses claimed was responsible for the causing health and property damage uncharacteristically for such UFO reports. This resulted in civil court proceedings, though the case ended in dismissal. A number of skeptical investigators, including Philip J. Klass, Peter Brooksmith, Straught, Campbell, Kurt Collins, and Brian Dunning questioned the details and overall authenticity of the incident. All right. And a little bit of the description of the encounter. Now, they thought that the sighting was Jesus returning, which that's not how Jesus returns. It would be more likely it's some sort of a fallen angel thing than it would be an actual thing from God, because angels usually say don't be afraid, or it was an alien or a fallen angel or something like that. some like demonic thing, or it could have been some type of technology that was being tested by the U.S. Air Force. That could be by some the most likely explanation. On the evening of December 29, 1980, Betty Cash, age 51, and Vicki Landrum, 57, and Vicky's grandson, Colby Landrum, and he's still alive, as I said, were driving home to Dayton, Texas in Cash's Oldsmobile Cutlass after dining out. They later said that about 9 p.m., while driving on an isolated two-lane road in dense woods, they saw a light above some trees, and that the first thought it was an airplane approaching Houston Intercontinental Airport, and gave it little notice. A few minutes later, on the winding roads, they saw what they believed to be the same light as before, but thought it was now much closer and brighter. They said that it came from a huge diamond-shaped object which hovered at about treetop level, and that its base was expelling flame and emitted significant heat. Landrum told Cash to stop the car, fearing they would be burned if they got closer. A born-again Christian, she interpreted the object as a sign of the second coming of Jesus Christ. Telling Colby that that's Jesus, he will not hurt us, but as I said, that's not how it works with Christianity. That's not how Jesus would appear. Cash said she was anxious and considered turning the car around, but abandoned this idea because the road was too narrow and she presumed the car would get stuck on the dirt shoulders which were soft from that evening's rains. Cash and Landrum said that they got out of the car to examine the object, but Colby was terrified, and so Landrum said she quickly returned to the car to comfort him. Cash remained outside, mesmerized by the bizarre sight. As Jerome Clark wrote, he went on, "The object intensely bright and a dull metallic silver was shaped like a huge upright diamond, and the size of the Dayton Water Tower, with its top to bottom cut off so that they were flat and rather than pointed. Small blue lights ringed to the center and periodically over the next few minutes. Flames shoot out of the bottom, scared, flaring outward, create the effect of a large cone. Every time the fire dissipated, the UFO floated a few feet downward toward the road, but when the flames blasted out again, the object rose about the same distance. They said that the heat was strong enough to make the car's metal body painful to the touch. When you're painful to the touch, when it's that hot, it was not something from God, because God wouldn't cause humans to be hurt like that. It was either an extraterrestrial or some military experiment gone wrong, which I don't know why a military experiment would go wrong like that, but we had Bob on the show in the chat yesterday when we were talking about this, and he's a vet, and he was explaining that they have some radio, if I got this right, some radioactive type crafts of some sort, or that was experimented with. So it could have been something like that being tested if it was our own aircraft, which might be the most logical explanation. But it was either an extraterrestrial or some sort of demon thing, like a fallen angel, or maybe the aliens or something like that, or both. So, there's evidence that it was an experiment from the United States Air Force, the U.S. Air Force, or it was something from space. Not really exactly sure. It's quite a mystery. And Cash said that she had to use her coat to protect her hand from being burned by the door handle. When she finally got back in the car, when she touched the dashboard, Landrum claimed her hand pressed into the softened vinyl, leaving an imprint that was evident weeks later. Hey, Eric. Good to see you, buddy. One cat comes in, the other goes out. Yeah. Cats are definitely like that. and my cat is resting over there. And a shout out to the cats, and good to see you, Eric. We're talking about a UFO incident that we're talking about with a group yesterday. Just kind of going over it again, where they saw this diamond-shaped UFO that was these two ladies and the grandson and like the mother, grandmother, were in the car, and they saw this strange UFO phenomena happen, and they don't know if it was something from the U.S. Air Force or if it was a UFO, but they thought it was the second coming of Jesus at first, and it got really close to them and started heating the car, and then it went off through the top of the trees. But there's speculation about what caused this exactly. So, that's what we're talking about at the moment. Shout out to the cats. Cash and Landrum said they got out of the car to examine the object, but Colby, the grandson, was terrified. Also, Landrum said she quickly returned to the car to comfort him. Cash remained outside, mesmerized by the bizarre sight. As Jerome Clark wrote, he went on, the object, intensely bright and dull metallic silver, was shaped like a huge upright diamond about the size of the Dayton Water Tower, with its top and bottom cut off so that they were flat rather than pointed. Small blue lights ring to the center, and periodically over the next few minutes, flames shot out of the bottom, flaring toward this to create the effect of a large cone. Every time the fire dissipated, the UFO floated a few feet downward toward the road, but when flames blasted out again, the object rose about the same distance. They said that the heat was strong enough to make the car's metal body painful to the touch. Scared. Herrick said, I saw a UFO. My friend and his dad saw it too, hovering above their house miles away, a silver disc. Oh, okay. Thank you, Eric. Yeah, thank you for telling me about that experience that you had. And you see, this experience that these people had, it was a similar type of object that was metallic silver. It was just shaped like a diamond, and it looked like a star. And like the Bible says that according to Christianity and other Abrahamic religions, is that the stars, they describe some of the angels as stars, looking kind of like a star-looking thing. So that's why this thing resembled a star to them, because if it had something to do with them, that's what they were seeing. But yeah, this was also a metallic silver thing that they alleged to have seen. So thank you for sharing that. Cash said she had to use her coat to protect her hand from being burned by the door handle when she finally got back in the car. When she touched the dashboard, Landrum claimed her hand pressed into the softened vinyl, leaving an imprint that was evident weeks later. Investigators cited it as proof of their account. Video evidence of this was shown in the UFO What's Going On 1985 HBO documentary. They said that the object then ascended over the treetops and rose higher in the sky. And then a group of helicopters approached it, surrounding in tight formation. Cash and Landrum counted 23 helicopters and later identified some of them as tandem router Boeing CH-47 Chinooks used by the military forces worldwide. More specifically, Cash claimed that they had United States Air Force markings. So it could have been something that came from the United States Army, like I said before. It could have been a U.S. experimental craft that they had. But we don't really know for sure what it was. With the road now cleared, Cash says she drove on, claiming to see glimpses of the object and the helicopters receding into the distance. Now, the helicopters receding into the distance could have been the sound of the UFO engines or some other UFO craft, that they thought were helicopters, because it might make a whooshing noise as it's going along, or it was some sort of U.S. experiment, or something else. From the first sighting the object to its departure, they said the encounter lasted about 20 minutes based on the descriptions given in John F. Schlussler's book about the incident. It appears that they were southbound on Texas State Highway FM 1485 to 2100 when they claimed to have seen the object. The initial location of the reported object, based on the same description, was just south of Inland Road, approximately at 30 degrees 30.0926 north, 95.119 west. But as published in Skeptical Inquirer, Robert Schaefer is probably the way it's pronounced. Robert Schaefer has concluded that despite media reports in the country, neither Cash nor Landum nor Schlossler had any idea of precisely where this incident actually took place. Health problem claims. The witnesses claimed that after UFO and helicopters left, Cash took Landrum's home. Oh, hello, Daisy. Good to see you. Oh, hello, Daisy. Shout out to you. And what I do with all my friends that I knew on YouTube, I will give you the wrench. Let's see. It need to the chat. Oh, there we go. Add as. There you go. Welcome to the Mod Squad. All right, Daisy, welcome to the stream. I hope that you've been doing well and having a great weekend. What we are doing now is we're talking about UFOs at this moment. On Friday, we reviewed the Diddy trial and some other trials that we've been watching. What we're doing now is reviewing some UFO incident that occurred in the 80s. And Daisy said, I saw you had a page up about the Chinook helicopters and thought you might be covering the Idaho firefighter ambush. Oh, okay. I haven't covered the Idaho firefighter ambush. That's something that we could look into. And that's interesting. All right, that's something we could look into. And also what happened was in the 80s, this family, these two ladies, and there was a grandson, they were driving home and they saw this strange thing in the sky. It looked like a silver metallic diamond, like you see on the screen, this type of UFO right here. And they were driving home and this thing got really close to their vehicle. They went out to look at it and it was heating up the car and it caused them allegedly some health problems. And they allegedly said they saw some of these Chinook helicopters escorting the object off. So they thought that maybe it was something from the U.S. Air Force, that it was a type of experiment where they were testing as some sort of a nuclear or an atomic type of a craft, and it didn't go right. Or it could have been a UFO, and it just was spinning off, and it made a helicopter-type noise. It is quite unknown. And there was a court case about this, and they sued the U.S. government. I say government, a code word, I like to say government. It's something my friend and I used to say about instead of government. And it's an interesting legal battles happen with this, and there was alleged health problems from it. So they don't know if it was a UFO or if it was some sort of a secret government craft that was being created. And the grandson, he's in his 50s, he's still alive. And of course, good to see you, Alien. I also just mentioned it because it's happening as we speak. Oh, okay. Thank you for that. Let's see. Yup, that is true. Yup, she is right. So what's going on is right here. It's going to load. 2 have been deleted in a firefighter. Oh, hello, Aaron. It's good to see you. Welcome. 2 passed away after firefighters are ambushed in the Idaho. It says cure de LNA. I probably said that wrong. So, all right. What to know? 2 people were shot and deleted when firefighters were ambushed on Canfield Mountain near Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, authorities said. Sheriff's officers that responded to the scene are taking active sniper fire, Kootenai County Sheriff Robert Norris said. Hello, Gooberman. My family lived near the hill ASSV, Idaho, and I swear we have seen some weird-ish in the sky. Not sure if they're Air Force experiments or what. Oh, okay. Thank you for your feedback about what's going on over there. That's very interesting. And Aaron, what a wonderful surprise to see you. Welcome to the stream. And welcome, everybody. I appreciate y'all being here. And civilians are coming off the mountain as officials try to clear it. Norris said that the situation is both active and very, very fresh. Canfield Mountain is in, I'm probably pronouncing this wrong, Coeur d'Alene, which is a northwestern Idaho about 30 miles from Spokane, Washington. And let's see exactly what this is about. Okay. All right, Daisy says, yes, close-ish to the location of the Idaho 4. Also close to Ruby Ridge standoff in 1989. I'm old AF, though. Oh, okay. Understood. Thank you for telling us about it. Oh, we're all down to just one trial again. Ah, okay. Yes, Aaron. Yes. That's from what I heard, too. Okay, now we're going to continue reading this to see what's going on with this news update. All right. Mike Crapo and Jim Rishish, both Republicans, posted on X about today's shooting. Okay, we're going to X that window and just look it up through the phone. Okay. All right, so I'm going to look this up through this right here, and I'm going to read it to you all right now. I'm just going to read it through the phone instead. Okay, because there's a lot of stuff open. Oh no, I cover news on here and all kinds of things, and I love covering breaking news. Well, I'm seeing it all over social media right now. Okay, so let's read about this situation, and it's going to be loading. That's okay. We love having different conversations about these things. Okay. All right. Now we're going to be reading this for chat. 2 people believed to be fire personnel were fatally shot and others injured while responding to a brush fire in Idaho. And at least one active shooter continues to fire a law enforcement with high-powered rifles, according to Kootenai County Sheriff Robert Norris says. We don't know if there's 1, 2, 3, or 4 shooters, Norris said, which said with officers reporting bullets coming from multiple directions. Quote, we will neutralize this threat. The fire may have been intentionally set to draw first responders to the scene. One responding firefighters noted in audio from Kootenai County Fire Broadcastify. Now what I'm going to change this title is to the Idaho shooting, just to put it in the title, okay? Which we're still going to talk about the UFO thing, but we're also going to mention this thing. So everybody, there's breaking news. We have Idaho shooting. We're going to say breaking. Breaking. Thank you all for your patience while I do this. Okay, we're done. With that, we're going to continue talking about this. Okay. Shout out to all of you that are here. Appreciate everybody chilling with us, hitting the like button and hanging out. I appreciate it. All right. And then Daisy says, there is some traffic on the scanner that is heartbreaking. You can hear firefighters on the radio asking for help. That is very heartbreaking. Oh, that is just haunting to hear something like that going on. Prayers that this situation is resolved, and shout out to the first responders. Okay, so quote, we don't know if there's 1 or 3 or 4 shooters, Norris said, with officers reporting bullets coming from multiple directions. We will neutralize this threat. Now, and when I've studied a lot about trials, just as you all have, and for instance, they will sometimes, people that want to do a shooting will try to disguise they'll do a fire or do some explosion somewhere to distract law enforcement from an event that they're doing, a attack that they're doing, or that they will have an attack to draw in law enforcement or firefighters to do a massacre. For instance, with the Columbine shooting that happened in '99, they set a bomb to go off in some area in a fire that happened to distract law enforcement from the school. So it has happened before. It was part of a... So this certainly seems like an attack in my opinion, but I could be wrong. But it seems like it certainly is. All right. So, okay. The fire may have been intentionally set to draw first responders to the scene. One responding firefighter noted in audio from Kootenai County Fire EMS via Broadcastify, like what Daisy is saying. The blaze, which began as half-acre, remains active as police work to stop the rapid fire shooting. And Daisy says Northern Idaho has a rich history of anti-government violence, unfortunately. Okay. That is unfortunate, Daisy. You know, that this country, I believe, is the greatest on earth. Not against other countries, but it's unfortunate that people would try to destroy the government that we have here, where, you know, they are you know, Constitution, stuff like that, needs to be respected. All right. So the blaze, which began as half an acre, remains active as police work stop rapid fire shooting. It is unknown how many people were injured in the shooting, and hikers and residents are still struck on the mountain, officials said. Yeah, Aaron, I do agree that violence is not the answer, and in people doing stuff like that. And, you know, people could disagree with their government, but they don't have to resort to the type of violent things like this. Right. Quote, this is going to likely be multi-day operation, Norris said. It's going to be a tough next couple of hours. I'm hoping that somebody has a clear shoot and is able to neutralize, because they are not at this point in time showing any evidence of wanting to surrender, end quote. Yeah, I agree, Aaron. How are we going to connect these dots? It is beyond me too. And usually, and that's how it works. We don't connect the dots looking forward, but looking back, things fall into place. Like sometimes things fall apart for other things to fall together. The shooter or shooters are using modern day sporting rifles, Norris said. So I think that, in my opinion, it is so tragic because law enforcement has, like, say, like the firefighters, if your house is burning down, you're going to have a firefighter help you. God forbid. Or the police will help you with something. But you see, people like this, they're hunting them with, shooters are using modern day sporting rifles. So they're using sporting rifles and hunting them like they're game, treating them like they're vermin. This is demoralizing and humiliation to do this to them. It's like, this is absolutely atrocious. And Daisy says, "Oh, hello, Shell. It's great to see you." So, Shell, there has been a shooting, an attack that is going on in Idaho where there's a fire and they're shooting at the first responders with modern day sporting rifles. And Daisy says, "Our government is not great, but I am with you guys. I would never think to attack or ambush anyone." Yeah, Daisy, I do agree that the government is not perfect, and I don't completely trust everything that they do. But what I'm talking about is the values of the Constitution, or the ideas the founding fathers had. I think that should be respected because that gives us freedom. But I understand that the government could do things that isn't, right. I do agree. But basically, this attack is really, disgraceful. First responders trying to put a fire out, and you're going to go attack them. It's like biting the hand that feeds you. Shout out to all of you. Appreciate everybody here. Oh, okay. Okay, Shell. That is right. That is right. And yeah, it's just very. I'm just finding out about it thanks to Daisy. And I am just watching it as it unfolds. And I think it's extremely uh, disgraceful what is going on here. And hopefully everybody up there is safe and that this gets resolved. All right. So multiple agencies are responding to the area, the chief said. The FBI is also sending assets to, quote, provide tactical operational support to the active situation. Deputy Director Dan Bongino said on X. Yeah, be safe, Shell. Yeah, people are crazy. Yeah, and the scanners are saying, Stacey said from the scanners that they're asking for help, and it's really sad. And I guess we know, like, over from Smoke and Scan, that's we hear things from scanners, and to hear that live is quite a heartbreaking thing to hear about what these people are going through, the firefighters and stuff at this moment. And Kootenai County Emergency Management has told people in the area to shelter in place and asked others to avoid the area. Video and photos show law enforcement officers rushing to the scene. A police car can be seen speeding down the road, bypassing a barrier erected to restrict access to the area. Video shows as other law enforcement officials blocked the street. Shell said, "I'm okay. Myself and Hubs are both retired, so we are not in any type of law enforcement anymore." Oh, okay, Shell. Understood. I'm glad that y'all are home safe. Idaho Gov Brad Little urged people to stay away from the area to allow the law enforcement firefighters to do their work. Quote, multiple heroic firefighters were attacked today while responding to the fire, North Idaho Little said post on X. Quote, this is a heinous direct assault on our brave firefighters. I ask all Idahoans to pray for them and their families as we wait to learn more. Teresa and I are heartbroken, end quote. Daisy said, I didn't even think about the civilians that would be up on the mountain with the weather so nice. Just makes this even more serious. Yes, yes, I agree. And a lot of times these sick people will want to ruin something, a nice Sunday, and make it into something terrible. And they're civilians and on the mountains with the weather so nice. Yeah. For instance, on 9/11, the weather was very nice that day in New York City, but something terrible as obviously happened. But like they can make a beautiful day into something terrible, unfortunately, because humans, and I do believe in extraterrestrials and ghosts and things like that. But the most frightening creature on Earth is humans. Humans can do some really wicked things to each other. Like if I was like me as an alien personally, I I come to Earth for y'all, but it's not a place where a lot of aliens don't want to really come here. They go in and go out, or just to do some experiments and go back to the other planets. The incident is in the Cranfield Mountain Natural Area, a 24-acre park on the east side. Right on, Aaron. Of the city. There are several hiking and biking trails and heavy tree to cover. Alright, so we're going to go here. And let's see. Idaho, let's see any updates at the moment going on. Remember, normal people do not think like criminals. Yes, Shell, that is true. Normal people do not think like criminals. They have a different type of mind than what we have. The brush fire that responders were initially called to is going to keep burning. Kootenai County Sheriff Robert Norris said, due to the active shooting situation on Canfield Mountain. At 1:21 p.m. local time, emergency personnel received reports of a brush fire to the east side of Canfield Mountain, Norris said. A Sunday night news conference at 2 p.m., the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office received reports that first responders were taking gunfire. Yes, Daisy, and I do think humans can do amazing things. It's a double-edged sword. Humans can do amazing things. Help animals, help each other. They also can do evil things, and that's why free will was put here, I believe, in my opinion, by God, and people that don't believe in God could just say that, humans have a choice. And free will, you could get people that do the right thing very well, or do the wrong thing very badly. But that's a good thing about free will, that you, as people could do very bad or very good. Daisy, I am in Central. I'm in the Central time zone right now. Idaho is far west of me. It's quite swampy where I am. Quote, we won't put out any resources to there until threats are neutralized. And let's see. And then this was another update that, like in more detail, so we're going to go more in detail about the first responders and what they're saying to each other. Quote, we are actively taking sniper fire as we speak, Sheriff says. So the first responders are there, and they're taking sniper fire. And it's, advanced, rifles that these people are using, like they're hunting. Kootenai County Sheriff Robert Norris was saying that we are actively taking sniper fire while speaking at the news conference Sunday evening. Oh, okay, it's Pacific time. Okay. It's farther, it's towards the ocean. Okay. It's 6:15. Oh, okay. Where I am, it's 8:16. Scared. And Alaska's even like further out, and Hawaii, they're even in a more of a distant time zone than, it's like a whole other day over there than it is here. So yeah, shout out to all the time zones. It's pretty cool. Another thing I want to say, another thing about the technology, although as we've talked about how technology can be very harmful, especially to the youth and everybody else, it's really cool how we could all simultaneously be talking about the different time zones that we're in like this. Because the time, like we're getting close to the 4th of July, and the time where they didn't really have advanced technology. The country was much smaller back then, but to get information around took longer. But now we're all, even back in the 40s or 50s or even 30 years ago, it's like it has advanced drastically. And I like to see how we all talk about the different time zones we're in at the same time. It's very cool. 716 here in Boise. Okay. And I probably pronounced that wrong. It's probably Boise. Probably pronounced that wrong, but okay. Thank you, Daisy, for the update on your region. Yeah. Every day I am still learning how to say different words, as I've come across new words all the time, and I like learning as I go. Yeah. The very fresh situation, he said. We have unknown amount of casualties, he went on, and we have civilian areas coming off the mountain. And we might have civilians that are stuck in shock on that mountain. So it's possible that they're saying that there was alleged maybe civilians that were shocked and stuck in the mountain. It's like people can't do anything anymore, it seems. It's like you can't go hike in the mountains or do anything without being worried about some nutcases doing a Sheen Timu tragedy. It's absolutely ridiculous. All right, Boise, and Boise. Okay, cool. I like that name. Okay, Boise and Boise. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I know, right? It's like they're doing a Timu Sheen tragedy. It's like they have to get their clown nose on, their makeup on, and play the clown music and start a ruckus. It's like, we didn't want no clowns right now. It's like, what are y'all doing? It's like, what are we doing here? It's like, you're going to either be deleted and go to hell, or go and have a life in prison over what? It's like, you gotta get the cheap mindset out and just let people enjoy their time. It's absolutely ridiculous what people do. People could use their intelligent minds for something very wicked. So it's like the two things seem to be correlated, where you would think, but it's not really a wise decision to do something like this, because in the long term it's not good for anybody. It's cringe. Scared. And Secretary of Agriculture says she's praying for the victims and their families. Daisy, only time I've been in Boise was high school for the state track and field. Oh, okay. Boise. It's like Boise. I really think that's a cool name, like, to call a place. It sounds like it would be a cool, like, rap name or a singer name. Little Boise. Young Boise. It's cool. Speaking of track, I like running and walking. I was always good at running and walking. I like that. Oh yeah, the Koberger trial. Yeah, that. So Shell, the Koberger, Brian Koberger, were what we watch at Law and Crime. Yeah, that trial's gonna be interesting to see if it ever happens. We're gonna see if there's gonna be a crowd of people that are gonna start fighting in the chat, or that's gonna get along peacefully. Because yeah, the Koberger thing. Yeah, the trial date has not been set yet, but we're going to see how it goes. Shell, I think so too. And on this, now there's some people that think he's innocent, and I've had discussions with them. And I look at, because when I look at trials and stuff, I've learned to view things in different ways. Oh, hello, Bob. Good to see you, buddy. And I do think he's guilty too. Now, I've also like debated and discussed with the people that think he's innocent. It's an interesting dialogue. So, but yeah, I do agree he's guilty, and we're gonna see how the trial goes. And I've been seeing different points of view, also. So it's been an interesting investigation with the Koberger case. Oh, the date has been set. Okay, I didn't get that. Okay, August 11th. Yeah, I thought it was gonna be August 11th, but I heard it was kept on getting pushed back. Bob, good to see you, buddy. We were talking about the UFO story from yesterday, but at the same time, we're also talking about the current breaking news that's going on in Idaho. Hope you're doing well, Bob. Welcome to the chat. Secretary of Agriculture says she's praying for the victims and their families. Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins said she had spoken to Idaho Gov Brad Little about the horrific attack on a post on X. Quote, "We are praying for the victims and their families, and we provide that the updates more information becomes available," she said. "The incident is unfolding in the Canfield Mountain Natural Area, a park managed by U.S. Forest Service, which is part of the Department of Agriculture." Thank you, Bob, for the link. Thank you. All right, and the link is about some additional coverage that is going on about it. So thank you for that, Bob. I'll go pin it. Thank you. And also, as we're saying, is Aaron said, Daisy, oh, you're right. He has a pretrial this week for that case. I want to see him get the DP. Ah, nice. And Daisy said, I'm not sure. I think that the trial actually did get continued, although it's to, I believe, CSAM trial goes first. Okay, thanks, chat. The incident is unfolding in the Canfield Mountain Natural Area, a park managed by the U.S. Forest Services, which is part of the Department of Agriculture. She added that the Forest Service has mobilized additional firefighting and law enforcement research to assist the ongoing incident. Quote, "We need law enforcement up here immediately," firefighters tell dispatcher. So this is like when it was first unfolding. And Daisy says he just might, I think that's why the state is trying the CSAM case first, because if he's convicted on the trial, the state can use it as an aggravator in a penalty phase and other trial. A firefighter calling the EMS said that they needed law enforcement up here immediately, according to the audio obtained by CNN. Quote, "Send law enforcement right now. There's an active shooter zone," and the firefighter is heard saying, everybody shot up here. Quote, we've got another firefighter down. The firefighter said he needs help immediately. We need law enforcement immediately. It just, and as I said, firefighters are not doing anything bad to anybody as far as I know, and they're just trying to help people, and they're trying to put out a fire. Like, it's very messed up to attack them. It's like if their house is, or God forbid they're in a building or something, or a house, or they have emergency, the firefighter's going to help them. So I think this is a very extremely sick act. The firefighter also said we can possibly get the two wounded out, and that was pinned down behind a fire department vehicle. Local residents more worried about the fire than the suspects. Scared. All right. Local resident Mark Lathrop told CNN there was a ridge between his home and the shooting site, and he felt safe so far. Lathrop said the main concern in his neighborhood was firefighters were unable to tackle the fire, which was in the tree covered area with a lot of underbrush. So they have cleared the underbrush, but both were where they're going to be in. It's just pretty thick and it's very, very dry. We haven't had a lot of rain here. Quote, he said there were a lot of places the suspect could be hiding. Quote, if you went away from town, these log roads go 30 to 50 miles before you'll hit another town, so quite a big area to search. FBI deputy director sends assets. And Bob says a sniper can hold a city hostage. I agree. It's a very powerful weapon. And that makes sense to me. And it's quite very deadly, quite scary that this madman's still on the loose, as far as we know. The FBI deputy director sends assets to provide tactical operation support. All right, so this is one of the FBI that we're talking about before. We're sending tactical support, and here it is a bit more detail. FBI Director Dan Bongino said Sunday evening the FBI had been dispatched to the active scene, the shooter in Idaho. Quote, FBI assets are on the scene and provide tactical operational support to the active scene, and a spokesperson for the Department of Homeland Security said the security Kristi Noem is actively monitoring the situation in that area and pray for Idaho's first responders. They're saying on Twitter. All right, so during the incident, and yes, amen, Shell, I agree, they will get caught, just a matter of time. Just like with the New Orleans people that broke out of prison in New Orleans, they caught one of them on Friday. There's still one left on the loose. Now, this guy was in Hollygrove. He wasn't... That's where he was. The guy that... The last perpetrator... The last fugitive they caught. He was in Hollygrove. He didn't even leave the city. So they're still working around. Hello, want some coffee? Great to see you. Welcome to the chat. And we are talking about the county sheriff situation where we're talking about the shooting that just occurred. And I'll make you want some coffee. Here you go. Here's your wrench. Thank you for being here. Kootenai County Sheriff says at least one active shooter continues to fire with high-powered rifles. Oh, nice. Nice. 2 people believed to be fire personnel were fatally shot, the other injured while responding to the brush fire in Idaho. At least one active shooter continues the fire at law enforcement with high-powered rifles, according to the Kootenai County Sheriff Robert Norris. You're welcome, coffee. Shell says if he offs himself in the area, they will find him. Ah, okay. That is true. Witnesses says sniper teams monitoring the area. Mark Lathrop, who says he lives near the area where at least 2 people were shot and deleted, told CNN Sunday evening that he can see a sniper team monitoring the area. Oh, Dwayne, great to see you, buddy. Have a great live from Sharon and Dwayne. Okay, thank you, Dwayne. Have a good evening. And thank you and Sharon for the supporting in the channel and hitting like button. Have a good evening to you both. And Coffee says, I can't believe this happened. Who shoots at firemen? I know, Coffee. It's like, basically, people have, different issues with different I say gooberment, but it's government. I say gooberment was like a code word my friend and I came up with when we were growing up. So there's different people that in law enforcement and stuff, but the fire department, they're helping people that are injured, that are medical emergencies, especially if a building or God forbid a building or a house gets caught on fire. You know, shooting at firemen is very low. And also Daisy said, "You're absolutely right. I am also kind of waiting to the same thing with the Travis Decker guy, either finding his body or capturing him alive." Yeah. All right. The sniper team are set around the block from his home. He said, "This is from witness testimony." All right. So Mark Lathrop, who said he lives near the area where at least two people were shot and deleted, killed and deleted. Like another code word we came up with on YouTube was saying, instead of saying killed, we say deleted, but it doesn't really matter. You can say either one. Told CNN Sunday evening that he can see sniper teams monitoring the area. The sniper teams are set up around the block from his home, he said. There's either watching the hill for the shooters or for just hikers that need to get out of harm's way, he said. Imagine what it's like for the people that are just hiking or trying to have a good, time enjoying the mountains, and they have this happen. As I said, just people gotta chill out. It's like, I remember there was a case that we were watching where you had an incident where this dude, he shot up a Walmart, or it was a supermarket of some kind, and people just trying to shop at the grocery store, and you go and do a shooting. It's just, people are just crazy. People are nuts. It's like, and there's a lack of empathy. Another thing is a lot of people thinking there's no hope, like a lot of what's called black-pilled people, where they're like doom and gloom, where that there's no hope, where they do things to this extreme, okay, to this extreme. You gotta see. And basically, in my opinion, they'll think that this is a way to make a statement or make a mark, and it's not. It's bad for everybody involved, including the people that are being hurt. They'll be locked up or deleted themselves for a long time. It's not worth it. And they think that there's nothing left but to do this. And people lack a lot of that do this, they lack emotional control and emotional regulation. There's better ways to express themselves. I don't know what their motive is, but there's better ways to do something than this. And I think in this day and age, people have been too into just doing whatever impulse comes to them. They lack empathy. Another thing about this is the lack of empathy that people are having, that they're doing these type of things, because they don't have empathy for anybody if they're deleting and killing the firefighters. So yeah, it certainly shows that there's a lot of problems with the society, and it's going a decay where this needs to stop, because there's a lot of issues going on for this to occur. Although bad things have always happened throughout time. Okay, so but it seems to happen quite frequently, unfortunately. All right, quote. He added that he felt safe because of the huge law enforcement presence. He also saw law enforcement in full military gear getting ready. The wind is, quote, pretty light right now, so the fire doesn't seem to be spreading, Lathrop said. Quote, but it is blowing towards us, which is a little concerning, he added. Right now, our neighbors are out talking, and we feel safe at this point. He said that his wife hikes in the Canfield Mountain Natural Area 3 or 4 times a week. Now there's wildfires that happened over in Cali a couple of months ago, and it was quite terrible, and we're watching it unfold, and it spread all over and consuming people's houses, and then people were left in their vehicles, and it was just a bunch of everything just getting burnt up. It was very, you can see in the mountains all over. So I can understand why people would be concerned about wildfires, especially in regions that are very prone to wildfires. Where I am, last year, the year before, there was a drought, and we had the warning about the the fire warning like y'all have. Because if something didn't go right, there would be a wildfire. So we didn't have that, thankfully. But all the grass died. It was like a dystopian world, it looked like. It was quite crazy. But the rains came back. Shell said people that commit crimes like this, they think about it and get desensitized. Yes, they do get desensitized. That's true. Like, Prawn, more you view, less sensitized you become. I think technology is a gateway to desensitization. Shell, I think that you are absolutely correct. That the technology would certainly contribute to that. And I think that people that did that, for whatever reason, had a predisposition for whatever reason before that. But for those people that are sensitive to those things, they absolutely will do that. I agree with you. And for instance, like Ted Bundy, the serial killer, he talked about that in his final interview. And that was before the technology, but they had like TVs and stuff. Now back then they had like other types of like magazines and things like that. But yeah, but people can become desensitized to that, or somebody that has a predisposition. It could be to video games, it could be to the movies or media, whatever it is, or in ideologies. Like we see a lot of times, Shell, with whatever kind of beliefs are being pumped in their heads. And I do believe that there are people that could watch it and not be bothered by it, but there's other people that are sensitive to it, or have a predisposition to act like that in that sort of way. For instance, there's people that can drink alcohol and not become an alcoholic. You know, there are people that can do, that could say smoke weed and not do other kinds of drugs that might be harmful to them. So I think that it depends on a person, but certainly it is a gateway and it is desensitization. And that people will go do it again and again, these type of things, and say they'll do something it's not as extreme enough, and they'll have fantasies about it, or doing things like we're seeing here, or the crime, and it goes to a point where doing it, these extreme things, will satisfy what their motive or political motive or their impulse or both, whatever it is. And a lack of empathy, a lack of a couple of things, and a society normalizing this type of behavior, saying people being more emotional, and people disrupting the natural order of things could also cause a problem with it, which social media, although I always like to talk about the good things about it, I'm not denying that there's other cons about it too at the same time that will cause these issues as a result. Thank you, Shell. Very well said. All right, Daisy says, yes, agreed, Alien. Some people are way more susceptible than others. And Daisy says people need to get out and touch grass. Yes, they do. They do need to touch grass. And when I was growing up, like I was talking about in another stream, is that my mom had me, wear, like I had like costumes and stuff. I like to play pretend. I didn't have video games until I was a couple of years older. 20 years ago, in Christmas of 2005, or it was 2005, maybe 6, but something like that, I say probably 2006, I got the first Game Boy. But when I was growing up, I had toys, and I played outside. I was good with sports and stuff. So, and playing with other kids, and I touch grass. I like doing that. So yes, I do think that kids, when they're starting off, should probably stay away from technology until they're a couple years older. When I was a little bit older, I got a Game Boy, and then I got a DS, and then like I used the computer. And I'm very good with computers and technology, but it was when I was a couple of years older. Now, as I said, I was just very responsible with it, and I'm different than somebody else may have reacted towards it. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. So basically, I think that kids, especially young kids, they should touch grass. And I think, like I listen to things or music or watch a stream while I'm outside walking around and touching grass. You could do both at the same time, but I do think it's good to detox from technology sometimes. And it's good for people to not overdo things. Like you could have a balance, like a yin and a yang, where you're not doing that overboard. Because people, as I said, with the iPads and the tablets, they're getting too sucked into it, especially with some stuff on social media I think has been somewhat toxic to the youth. But it could be good too, but also not denying it's toxic as well at the same time. So, yeah, I do agree. And I do think that it's possible that these type of things can contribute to people that are more susceptible to these type of atrocities. And we would like to see if the person or persons, do they have a manifesto like Luigi Mangione? Did they have, is there some political motive? Are they trying to make a statement? Do they just like chaos and destruction? There's a combination of both. There are some questions I would like to see answered, and we will see answered over time. All right. So the governor urges people to stay away from the scene. Obviously, the Idaho governor Brad Little urged people to stay away from the area to allow law enforcement and firefighters to do their work. Quote, multiple heroic firefighters were attacked today while responding to the fire in North Idaho. This is a heinous direct assault on the brave firefighters. I asked the Idahoans and their team of families to learn more about that. And Teresa said they're all are heartbroken. And let's see, anything new going on? Let's see. I'm going to reload, and we got to do that to reload it. Okay, let's see. It is coming out, and here we go. Okay, so what we're covering, let's see, reading some other headlines. I'm going to go to some other updates about it. Let's see, so active shooter, at least one active shooter is still firing at law enforcement with high-powered rifles, according to the county sheriff. You think Brad Little is a rhino? Okay, Shell, thank you. I wouldn't know anything about him, so I appreciate what you have to say about it. Okay. So active shooter. At least one active shooter is still firing at law enforcement with high-powered rifles, according to the Conti County Sheriff Robert Norris. Quote, we're active taking a sniper fire as we speak. 2 are injured. 2 are deleted. 2 firefighters were fatally shot. 3rd is in surgery, and according to the International Association of Firefighters, they were responding to the brush fire. Canfield Mountain area in Idaho, the sheriff said that they were still that process of removing people who have passed away from the mountain. Fire still burning. FBI response. Let's see, anything else? Any new? Let's see. Keeping the chat open, but I'll BRB feeding. Oh, shout out to Daisy. Okay. Good job. 1 hour. Let's see, anything else? It seems that that's pretty much what the newest update is. Let's see over here. Yeah, so, I mean, I think people are totally are going to be more, uncertain and paranoid about going out and hiking and doing these type of fun activities. Yeah, I'm going to do a double check on that to see if that's really still happening over there. But that's what I'm seeing. See live updates to make sure that it is really what it is saying. Let's see, 2 hours, 1 hour ago. Seems to be the report so far. There doesn't seem to be anything new about it. But that is the update that we have at the moment. All right, so going here. All right, let's see. Yeah, I don't see anything that says that it stopped. Yeah, it says at least one active shooter is still firing. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, so an update from 6 minutes ago. An update from 6 minutes ago. It just we're back, everybody. An update from 6 minutes ago. Arsonists typically leave clues, former FBI deputy director says. Former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe told CNN that it appears to be a strong possibility that the fire had been set deliberately. Less than a minute ago, Sheriff announces Sunday evening media briefing. It will be held at 9:30 p.m. local time Sunday. The briefing will take place in the county's Emergency Management Operations Center. All right, so arsonists typically leave clues, former FBI deputy says. So it's a strong possibility that it was set deliberately. Ultimately, what investigators will rely upon is that the same sort of. It seems that it's still happening as we're doing the stream. It's still going on. It seems. It's still happening from what I'm seeing. But I'm still checking. Quote, ultimately, what investigators will rely upon. Hello. Hello, coffee. Ultimately, what investigators will rely upon is the same sort of kind of post-fire investigation that we see in the area. Okay. Ultimately, what we investigate will rely upon in the same sort of kind of post-fire investigation that we see in the arson case. That things like that, he said, quote, they're not going to be looking for evidence that this fire was intentionally set, and if it was set to draw firefighters to response for the purpose of waging this attack. Investigators would be looking at the mechanics of the fire, where it started, whether accelerant was used, and what device sparked it, and McCabe said, quote, typically arsonists, people who set fires intentionally, leave behind really characteristic clues of that nature, end quote. He said, adding that deliberate blaze was, quote, certainly high up on the list's possibilities right now, end quote. McCabe also praised the firefighter who called the shooting remarkable. Scared. Daisy says, I'm lower state, Boise, but still just disheartened to see this happening in my state. Oh, hopefully not related to those McCabe's. Hilarious. Right. Quote, I'm impressed by the way that they're able to kind of keep their cool under the unbelievably intense and terrifying situation. They're identifying casualties. They are reporting about their ability to evacuate individuals. He said, while literally pinned down by being behind the rig, which is, of course, a fire truck. Amen, coffee. Amen. "8 minutes ago, one firefighter in surgery after a heinous act of violence," Union says. One firefighter is a surgery after Sunday's shooting, according to a post on X. The International Association of Firefighters said Union represents firefighters. Quote, while responding to a fire earlier today in Idaho, IAFF members were ambushed in a heinous act of violence, end quote, reads the post. Let's see a new update. Okay, this is a new update that just came out just right now. Mountain setting and fire may provide challenges for emergency response, veteran firefighter says. Appending the active shooter or shooters in the Canfield Mountain natural area may be more difficult for law enforcement because of the terrain and the fire conditions, said Jason Pack, former FBI agent and veteran firefighter. Hello, Moki. It's great to see you. Welcome. Right, and then, quote, one thing the fire does is provide the cover for the suspect. Pack today, CNN, Omar Jimenez, Sunday night. Officials on the helicopter searching for the shooters, quote, do have technological capabilities there to see through smoke, but it's going to obscure the vision of pilots and those coming on up on the ground. So we're having this active situation with the okay, Moki, thank you. Nate Eaton interview with Nutty Lori airs tomorrow. Oh, okay, thank you. All right, so we have this active situation where there is an alleged arson incident where there's an active shooter shooting firefighters and first responders like a savage. I wonder if the Chinooks are standing by for med evac. Yeah, amen, Daisy. Amen. Here. Another complication is officials said that they are unsure how many people are on the mountain, Pack said. Quote, there could be other injuries up there, he said. Hopefully the shelter in place order was headed. It's hard to get information out of around the rural areas like that. And we're looking at live active updates as it's going along. Another thing that we were talking about with the surgery, the two of our brothers were deleted and a sniper. Third brother remains in surgery. The post continues. Please keep the family and law enforcement in their prayers. Prayers for them, absolutely. Three individuals involved in the shooting were brought to Cotinal Health. Yes, Smokey, that's what we think. And that's what the FBI is suggesting too. Hospital in Idaho, a hospital spokesperson, Kim Anderson, told CNN Sunday night two of them were deleted on arrival while a third is being treated, Anderson said. You have to be really evil and sick to do this to a firefighter. I mean, somebody that puts out a fire, try to help save lives and stuff is very sick. No, as I said, lack of empathy. We need more empathy in these times. And when you have a lack of empathy and a lack of hope for the future, you get things like this. Arsonists typically leave clues, former FBI deputy director says. I read this before, but I want to also explain like Moki's saying about the shooter, the fire was to lure the firefighters. Former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe told CNN that it appeared to be a strong possibility that the fire had been set deliberately. Ultimately, what investigators will rely upon is the same sort of kind of post-fire investigation that we see in arson attacks, things like that, he said. They're going to be looking for evidence that the fire was intentionally set. If it was set to draw in a firefighter response for the purpose of waging this attack, end quote. Investigators would be looking to mechanics of the fire, where it started, where accelerant was used, and what device sparked it, McCabe said. Quote, typically, arsonists, people who set fires intentionally, leave behind really characteristic clues of that nature, he said, adding the deliberate blaze was certainly high up on the list of possibilities right now. McCabe also praised the firefighter who called the shooting as, quote, unquote, remarkable. Quote, I'm impressed by the way that they are able to kind of keep their cool under unbelievably intense and terrifying situation. They're identifying casualties. They are reporting about their ability to evacuate individuals, he said, literally pinned down behind the rig, which is, of course, the fire truck. Daisy says, I think that that's right. I also have wonder if the shooters was trying to fire in such a way to trap people on the mountain and pick them off as they escape. Daisy, I think that is a very plausible theory about that. I certainly think that that's very possible. where you have a situation where they're trying to get there's people on the mountain and they're trying to entrap them in. Yeah, people are just nuts. People are just evil. People are crazy, like what Moki says. Absolutely. And yeah, people going, wait a minute. It's like, what are we doing here? We got these people trying to be on the mountain on a good day, and people can't even hike on a mountain anymore. Like Moki, we were watching that trial before about the supermarket shooter. People can't go to the supermarket. I mean, people it's insane. I suppose 30 years ago, this happening would have not been thought of. But I know bad things happened in the 90s, though. I do think that, but I do wonder if it would have been to this extent. And also, yes, and Coffee also said that people have lost it, and Shell also was making a reference about social media corrupting people. So yeah, I do agree, and thank you, Coffee and Shell and Moki and all of chat for pointing that out. And I agree with all of you that people have lost it, their marbles, and people certainly have lost empathy and gone down the road of just there's not going to be anything left and just going this path of destruction and taking everybody down with them. And I would like to see if there was a manifesto or any motives behind this or what the reason for this was, or if it was just people just being insane. All right. Okay. Quote, almost like a battlefield scene. Former Boston Commissioner Ed Davis told CNN receiving a call that firefighters were under fire was the worst case scenario of law enforcement. The chilling audio made it clear that people were on the ground and need rescue. So, yeah, it just seems like an incident of attacking a mass group of people. You feel that the firefighters that were calling at because they were literally people that were bleeding to the point of deletion on the ground, and they were pinned down behind their fire truck. So, very troubling situation, almost like a battlefield scene. The priority will now be neutralizing the suspect so that people could be taken to safety, he said. Clearly, if you have a chance to get medical help and evacuate who are on the field, you'll do quickly as possible, Davis said. Also they have high-powered rifles. Yeah, absolutely, Coffee. Daisy says, as Jim Gaffigan says, I no longer believe in reality. Yeah, I agree with him. Definitely. Witness says a sniper team monitoring area. So there's a team of snipers monitoring the area. I think that's what that means. We're going to go in more detail about it. This is an older update that we didn't go over. He says that lives near the area, at least 2 people were shot, and the sniper teams are set up around the block of his home, he said. They're either watching the hill for the shooters or for, just the hikers that need to get out of harm's way. So so to be clear, there's a team of snipers that are watching, or that were monitoring the area and watching everything so people can get out of the mountain safely. Oh, you're welcome, Coffee. It's my pleasure. And I appreciate all of you here in chat. So there are snipers that are monitoring and watching the situation all over. Trying to go after the shooters, making sure people can get out of this safely. So they weren't just targeting the firefighters, but they're also targeting whoever was in that mountain. It's just totally sick. And, God bless everybody. Keep everybody safe. All right? And God forbid that in this situation that we would all come out safely. And that these things could happen less. And not happen at all. Amen. Okay. So he added that he felt safe because huge law enforcement presence. He also saw law enforcement in full military gear getting ready. So I'm glad that the law enforcement were in full military gear and actively going out and getting this done. It's like the law enforcement is like going after these Timu Sheen weasels, these demonic weasels that feel big and tough by doing what they're doing. They're trying to attack innocent people and law enforcement, and they're going to catch these little vermin. That's what they are, and that they are cheaply made humans. They're poorly made humans that did this. Quote. And he added that it's a huge law enforcement presence and military gear. The wind was pretty light at the moment that happened, and so the fire doesn't seem to be spreading. So a lot of people were concerned about the fire itself, that they would be attacked, they would be forced to endure the fire and be burned up. Because, as I said, wildfires suck. It's like when your levees break in your city. It's kind of like that. So I can understand the frustration with a fire happening. But it was remaining stagnant, and it wasn't like spreading everywhere. You're not only threatening to delete and murder people, you're also going to start a wildfire that might spread and burn a bunch of houses down. Well, what a bunch of... They literally want to see the whole world burn down. Quote, but if it is blowing towards us, which is little concerning, he added. Right now, our neighbors are out talking, and we feel safe at this point. But they got to be careful, of course. All right. And let's see. This is the earlier update. And they did not. And when this first kicked off, law enforcement did not know if there's multiple shooters. They said, we don't know if there were, they didn't know if there was 2, 3, or 4 shooters. They didn't know how many they were. And we still don't, in my opinion, we don't know for certain if it's 1 or 2, 3, or 4 people at this point. We're not quite sure. So they didn't even know how many that they were. It certainly, in my opinion, was premeditated. And this is what they said much earlier. Quote, this is going to be likely a multi-day operation, Norris said. Quote, it's going to be a tough next couple of hours. I'm hoping that somebody has a clear shot, is able to neutralize, because they are not, at this point, at the time of the showing of evidence, wanting to surrender. All right, so that is what's going on so far. Let's see, and all this is live. Right, and also another thing to point out is that the shooting is unfolding in a popular hiking location. So they chose a area. They chose an area, everybody, where it was a lot of people. It was a very popular hiking location. Imagine a tourist or somebody just trying to hike, and this happens. It's like some people just want to go out their way to ruin someone's day. I really think that it's completely cringe. And shooting is popular hiking location. That, as I say, completely premeditated. They want to get as much people as possible. And they're being clear that the mountain setting and fire may provide challenges for emergency response. So the mountain setting and the fire, it'll be challenging for the people to respond. So another thing that the perpetrators of this did, which was unfortunately quite clever, was that they're using the terrain that they're in as a weapon. And the fire is a weapon, so it's hard to get to them. The fire is still burning. 2 deleted, 1 injured. And it's an active shooting. It's an active shooter. Coffee says they haven't released the names of the victims yet. Have they said that there would be a presser? Is that too soon? Yeah, so there would be if you're talking about the media briefing on this, the sheriff, and if that's what you meant, the sheriff announces on Sunday evening media briefing that the sheriff will says that a media briefing will be held at 9:30 p.m. local time where they are. The briefing will take place at the county's Emergency Management Operations Center in Hayden. For those that were, if that's what you meant, Coffee. We got a new update right now. We got a brand new update just as we're speaking. U.S. Senator Jim Risch decries villainous attack on firefighters. U.S. Senator Jim Risch, who... Okay, Coffee. Yes. So, yeah, the timeline when this began was... It seems that updates for this started... Yeah, the briefing. Yeah, so the briefing, as I said, that will be... I will repeat, is that 9:30 p.m. local time Sunday, where they are. Media briefing. And just a minute ago, U.S. Senator Jim Risch decries villainous attack on firefighters. U.S. Senator Jim Risch, who represents Idaho, decried Sunday's villainous attack on a post on X. He said that he and his wife join all Idahoans in mourning for the heroic first responders murdered and others injured in the line of duty in the Kootenai County. This villainous attack on the people who dedicated their lives to protecting and serving our communities is despicable. Not Idaho, he went on, but we pray for the victims, their loved ones, for justice. And I am glad to see different politicians and different people come out and condemn the heinous act. It's 7:09, and over there it'll start at 9:30. Come on. It will 9:30. I was right. CDA, okay. I like CDA better. Alright, thank you, Daisy, for the update. So over at CDA, over there, the media briefing will be held at 9:30 p.m. local time Sunday. It seems like it started 2 hours ago. But if chat knows better, I could be... Go ahead and correct me. Okay, Coffee, thank you. Where I am, it is 9:10. Oh, okay, Daisy, understood. My city is a French city, but I don't know how to pronounce every single word as well. I would have to look at the pronunciation to see if I get it right. I'm good at some of the words, but I have to for that one I need to go and see how it's pronounced. But the CDA is better, yeah. Oh, it'll be way late as the meeting was held. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, so, alright, we got these. Around 2 hours ago, it seemed this active shooting started, and we they're saying that at least one active shooter is still fighting law enforcement with high powered rifles, according to Kentonai County Sheriff Robert Norris. Quote, "We actively taking sniper fire as we speak," he said. Two deleted as one injured. Two firefighters were fatally shot. Okay. So, yeah. So there's at least one, but I think that there could have been more than one. Oh, technically, but at least one is still fighting them. And they said it could be multiple days. And really, I think that it's important for people to be more united about hopefully it could bring some unity to the country. Hopefully we could be staying united on this matter because, as I said, it's using like a hunting type gun that you'd use for hunting game, using that on firefighters of all people. It's like, what did the firefighters do to them? Like, it's did they get angry because they parked in front of the fire hydrant and they got their windows busted out? Did they? And it was over something petty. Like, was it the firefighter? The firefighter parked in their parking spot and they had to take revenge. Like, what is it? And by the way, chat, when I was in pre-K, I took a field trip to the fire department, to the fire station, and I got to slide down that pole. It was pretty cool. And I was very little. I also got to ride. They also rode us on the fire truck. And the fire people were telling the firefighters were telling us about fire safety and things like that. So they're nice to kids. They're nice to. They're trying to help everybody, and it's like, is this really sick? It's like anything you could possibly think of is like ridiculous. Where, and like what I was saying before was like to be kind of like a joke about like what did the fire department do to them? That was a joke because they didn't do anything to them. Absolutely, crazy what these people are doing. It's just, you know, a complete whatever the reason is extremely stupid. There's been an update just as of right now. A no-fly zone designated over Canfield Mountain. A no-fly zone has been designated over Canfield Mountain amid the ongoing shooting, according to the Facebook post from the Contenai County Emergency Management. The designation includes a ban on drones. Unauthorized aircraft or drones in the area pose a serious risk to firefighters and law enforcement operations, reads the post. So there's a no-fly zone over that area. That says a lot. That it's that bad where they can't trust that the aircrafts will be safe if they fly over that region. Thoughts and prayers for the people that passed away and the loved ones and the people in harm's way. I said firefighters are very amazing people, and they don't always live as long, from what I heard, because they have heart problems because of the stress that they undergo. They undergo a lot of stress, and they have heart attacks easier, and they put their lives on the line. I'll say it again, a coffee. All right. So, no fly zone designated over Canfield Mountain. A no-fly zone has been designated over Canfield Mountain amid the ongoing shooting, according to Facebook post by Kootenai County Emergency Management. The designation includes a ban on drones, unauthorized aircraft, or drones in the area pose a serious risk to firefighting and law enforcement operation, reads post. So there's no drones allowed. There's no unauthorized craft, airplanes or drones. Nothing can fly over it at the moment. So that's would make sense, and I think that would be very good for them to have a no-fly zone. And it's actually quite tragic about how grave the situation is becoming. You know, you got to think about that a drone flying over could disrupt something, that it could be putting people and airplanes in harm's way. Also, it could be hurting, wrong, and bad for both parties. So what's going on is a no-fly zone designated over Canfield Mountain. So Canfield Mountain, where this horrible incident is taking place, they have designated a no-fly zone. Canfield Mountain. All right, there you go. Canfield Mountain. A very beautiful mountain. Very beautiful mountain range. A true frontier type look. Yeah, so you got that. Like people just hiking on a trail, enjoying their day, and you have to do with snipers and people trying to set fires, luring first responders. Wow. Said breathtaking mountains. Yeah, that's nice. I like the greenery, the deep dark greenery. Very enchanting. Yeah, that is true. Coffee, and it provides a lot of covering for the enemy. Yeah, and yeah. So there's some more images of the mountain. That is an idea of the mountain ranges. They said, yeah, CDA is very beautiful. Yep, and he has particular advantage if he's also really familiar with the trails and everything in there. Yeah, I mean, it's similar to the type of terrain where Ted Bundy did his actions, unfortunately. He was in like the kind of mountain woodsy areas like that when he was doing those things. So a person that is trying to do something like this and hide, they have the force as an advantage. An advantage. Facts, Daisy. Exactly. Let's see. Mountains, woods. All right, here's another view of the trails. All right, these are the mountain trails. You know, lots of ambient woodlands. Lots of ambient woodlands. It's very dense. Yeah, that's another example of the sunlight hitting the ground. They're very nice. Then this other image that you have here, it looks like the mossy oaks camouflage right there. Yeah, it's a lot of forest. A lot of forest. And I'm keeping up with updates as they come through. All right, we'll be keeping up with the updates. It says it's opened. We're going to do while we look at the updates. It's already there's already a Wikipedia article about the shooting. This article documents an active mass shooting incident and formally may change rapidly. Initial news reports be unreliable. This latest update is article may not reflect most current information. So this is something that's actively happening. So to give you all like a summary about what was going on here is on June 29, 2025 at approximately 2 p.m. PDT, multiple firefighters from 3 engines were were shot in CDA in the city's Canfield Mountain Natural Area after a fire was intentionally set to ambush them. The 2 firefighters in Canfield Mountain were murdered. The condition of the number of those are unknown. According to Kootenai County Sheriff Robert Norris, officials will deploy further resources to extinguish the fire until the shooting is neutralized. So it happened at approximately 2 p.m. PDT. Daisy said, and if he's like a preparedness nut or wilderness survival guy, that will make it even harder to find him. I agree. Absolutely. If he's like Les Stroud or Bear, he will he will be very difficult to catch in the woodlands, especially if he knows about surviving off the land. He'd be gone for a while, especially if he brought supplies with him. County Sheriff Robert Norris said in a press conference it was not immediately clear if there was one gunman or more, and that the civilians may have been struck by the incident. Norris said law enforcement are prepared to neutralize the suspect, while a police spokesperson said, quote, I'm hoping somebody has a clear shot and is able to neutralize because they're not, at this point in time, showing any evidence of wanting to surrender. According to the scanner, audio car possibly linked to the shooting was located, and a press briefing will be held at 9:30 p.m. local time. A non-fly, unauthorized aircraft and drones was designed over the mountain. Modern high-power sporting rifles were reportedly used in the shooting. The Federal Bureau of Investigation deployed assets to the scene. The Bureau of Investigation Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives Division said that the Seattle-based division said their Seattle-based special agents fire investigations are responding to the incident as the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Eurocopter AS-350 helicopter, 2 Spokane County Sheriff helicopters, at least a armored police vehicle are also helping the operation. 9 firefighters were reportedly shot, with 1 being transported to the hospital in life-threatening condition. 1 firefighter is still in surgery, according to the International Association. We know that 2 firefighters passed away. 3 little fire Three Live 3 network air media service helicopters were sent to the area at the shooting to stand by if needed. Allegedly, 7 people reportedly injured. Wow. All right, let's see if anything going on. There's a new update. Okay, here we go. Department of Homeland Security, quote, actively monitoring the CDA shooting. Secretary of Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, said that agency was actively monitoring the situation, CDA, in a Sunday evening post. Quote, praying for Idaho's first responders, she wrote. Justice will be served. Attorney General Pam Bondi thanked FBI agents assisting local authorities. Quote, we are praying for all, she wrote. So that is the newest update. So Homeland Security is monitoring the situation closely. It's 8:28 p.m. over there. Now, it's 7:28 p.m. at the region where this is going on. It's 7:28 p.m. in Boise. So Boise is 7:28 p.m. And the other time is 8. I think I might be. Yeah, CDA is 7:28 p.m. Yeah. And the Mountain Time area part of Idaho is 8:28 p.m. So there's 2 different time zones with Idaho. Right, Idaho continues east of Washington, observed Pacific time, and Idaho continues east of Oregon, observed of Mountain time. It is 85 degrees in Idaho. They have a heat advisory for Idaho. Humidity is nice and low. That's good. Where I am, it's 82, but humidity is 78%. Humidity in Idaho is only 21%. It makes a big difference. Right now, what I'm going to be doing is, so that is what's going on in that mountain. Yes, yes, we had to know that for Lori's trial in the different time zones. Yeah, that's true. I remember that for Lori's trial, and also I remember that for Chad Daybell's trial too. Let's see. Let's look at some information about this mountain. I think the mountain ranges are very cool to hike. That's very cool. But as I said, we got to, you know, always be careful because of these crazy things. Yeah, because I think those trials are crazy. Those time zones, go very late in the evening. We're like in our neck of the woods. That's why it lasts for us the whole day because over there their days are different than ours. And seeing about reading about this place, all right, it says Canfield Mountain Natural Area. Learning some stuff about the mountain. This 24-acre open space park is located at 2305 E Mountain Vista Drive. Directions from I-90, take 15th Street north, turn right, Sudduck Lane, left on Cooper, and turn left on the Mountain Vista Drive. The trailhead is about 350 feet upon the right across the cul-de-sac. This natural open space with hiking, mountain biking trail system. The trail mile and a half in length and is rated the intermediate in difficulty with a few advances. Coffee. I am in Nola, Louisiana. That's where I am. Alright, so that is some cool facts about the mountain range. I like the French word. Cure day. Bring some information about this region. All right. All right, and yeah, thanks. Yeah, and is a city and the county seat of Contenay County, Idaho, United States, is the most populous city in North Idaho with a population of 54,628. Oh, okay, that's cool, coffee. That's cool. I like Ohio. It has an alien, it has a snake mound in Ohio that is similar, that was created by the indigenous Native Americans that were trying to signal something from the sky. So that's pretty cool. Shout out to Ohio. The cure. Oh wait, the CDA metropolitan statistical area estimated to be 188,000 people. The city is named after the CDA people, a federally recognized tribe of Native Americans who live along the rivers and lakes of the region in a territory of 400 million, oh no, 4 million acres, from eastern Washington to the Montana. The native people were hunter-gatherers who located their villages. Oh, okay, awesome coffee. Facts. Yeah, it's certainly very neat indeed. You know, it is quite intriguing about studying history and stuff. Yeah, Serpent Mound. Oh, hello, Gregor Tron. Good to see you. Gregatron, there's been some breaking news. There has been an incident, as you probably already know, of there's a shooting going on in Idaho at CDA, abbreviation for the location where it's at in this mountain range, or people are trying to flee and run, and you got somebody that was shooting two firemen and one injured, and they believe that the fire was started on purpose, and we're just reading updates about it. But as we do that, I'm just kind of talking about the area and some history about the area that we're speaking of. Hope you're having a good Sunday, buddy. All right. All right. So the native people were hunter-gatherers who located their villages and camps near the food gathering or processing sites and followed the seasonal cycles, participating in subsistence hunting or fishing and foraging. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, Greg. It's it's a really terrible situation, and also, as I said, I like reading about these the history of different places, and just kind of getting background about the area. The city began as a fort town. General William Tecumseh Sherman. Oh, well, that's really cool. That's interesting. William Sherman, yeah, the Civil War. General Sherman sited what would be known as Fort Sherman in the north shore of Lake Coeur d'Alene. In 1978, no, it says peopling of the town came from miners and prospectors came in the region after gold and silver deposits were found and would become the Silver Valley after the Northern Pacific Railroad reached the town in 1883. The 1890s, two significant miners' uprisings overtook wages took place in CDA mining district, leading to the declaration of material law, with the latter providing a motive for assassination. No, assassination of former Idaho governor and subsequently a nationally publicized trail. The late 19th century discovery of the highly prized white pine and forest of northern Idaho resulted in a timber boom and peaked in the late 1920s. Hello, Rulia. It's great to see you. We're talking about this tragedy that's unfolding in your region. And it is, but we're talking about the history of this area, of this specific location where the shooting is happening. So the shooter is still active, and they haven't caught the person yet. And the terrain and the fire is making it difficult for law enforcement to find the person, and it's still an active situation. So we're just reading about the history about it while we get the updates. Rulia, I hope that you're having a very blessed weekend, and it's nice to see you again. And was accompanied by the rapid population growth, which led to the incorporation of the city of September 4, 1906. After the Great Depression, tourism started to become a major source of development in the area. Oh, you're welcome, Rulia. Major sources of development in the area by the 1980s. Tourism became the major drive to local economy, and after decades of heavy resilience on the lodging in the city featured a more balanced economy with manufacturing, retail, and service sectors. The Aryan nations also had a compound just north of CDA. Oh, okay. Okay. Thanks for letting us know about that. All right. I'm going to read the recent updates that we're talking about for those who are just coming in. All right. So, no-fly zone designated over Canfield Mountain. A no-fly zone has been designated over Canfield Mountain amid the ongoing shooting, according to a Facebook post in Kootenai County Emergency Management. The designation includes a ban of drones, unauthorized aircraft, or drones in the area pose a serious risk to firefighting and law enforcement operation, reads the post. And the mountain setting and fire may provide challenges for emergency response, veteran firefighter says. Apprehending the active shooter or shooters in the Canfield Mountain natural area may be more difficult for law enforcement because of the terrain and fire conditions, said Jason Pack, a former FBI veteran firefighter. Quote, one thing the fire does is provide the cover for the suspect, Pack told CNN's Omar Gemini's Sunday night. Officials and a helicopter searching for the shooters do have technological capabilities there to see the smoke, but it's going to be obscure the vision of the pilots, those coming up on the grounds. Another complication is officials said they are still unsure how many people are on the mountain, Pack said. Quote, there could be other injuries up there. He said, hopefully the shelter and the place order was heeded. It's hard to get information out of the rural areas like that. And also, additionally, the shooting unfolded in popular hiking location. The shooting is unfolding in the Canfield Mountain Natural Area, a 24-acre park on the east side of CDA in northern Idaho. The park includes hiking and biking routes. According to the city website, images of the location show a mountain covered in dense forests. There are over 25 miles of trails in the park, according to the USDA Forest Service handout. A local resident, Mark Lathrop, told CNN's Omar Gemini's that his wife hikes in Canfield Mountain Natural Area 3 or 4 times a week. Kootenai County Sheriff Robert Norris said that hikers were still, quote, still coming off the mountain as law enforcement responds to the active shooter. All right. There is this is when the sheriff announced a Sunday evening briefing to the media. So for those that are coming in, the county sheriff Robert Norris said the media briefing will be held at 9:30 p.m. local time on Sunday. So their time over there. And also more information about the arsonist. And so far, there's not been any new updates at the moment. Well, if there is one, I'll let y'all know. Arsonists typically leave clues. Former FBI deputy director says the former FBI deputy director Andrew McCabe told CNN that it appeared to be a strong possibility that the fire had been set deliberately. That's what we were thinking. Quote, ultimately, what investigators will rely upon is the same kind of post-fire investigation that we see in the arson cases and things like that. He said they're going to be looking for evidence that this fire was intentionally set. If it was set to draw in a firefighter response for the purpose of waging this attack. Investigators would be looking at the mechanics of, okay, they found his body. Well, thank you, Shell, for that. Okay. Investigators would be looking for the mechanics of where it started, whether acceleration was used or was it a spark, McCabe said. Typically, the arsonists, people who set fires intentionally, leave behind reality characteristic clues and nature, he said, adding that deliberate blaze was certainly high up on the list of possibilities right now. The Butler's compound was destroyed in 2011. Oh, okay. Uh, Thank you, Shell. Let's see. Let's see about this. And Shell said they at 9:30 they will give a press conference with the information. The so basically the Aryan nations that Daisy mentioned, which was this it's a white supremacist neo-Nazi group. It's a hate group that was originally based in Kontanai County, Idaho, about a couple miles north of the city of Hayden Lake. Richard Grint Butler founded Aryan Nations in 1970s. Starting in 1981, Butler organized yearly gatherings of a white supremacist at his compound in Idaho, which he termed the Aryan Nations World Congress. At his first conference, Butler called the Visions of the United States into racial many states. So they seem to have a history of having radical ideologies where they'll have people where these extremist groups, it seems. And the white ethno state of Pacific Northwest, he said that he had a black ally in the plan, Louis Farrakhan, leader of the Nation of Islam. At 1983, the Aryan Nations World Congress, Louis Beam, and others, with the declared a war on the U.S. government. All right, so Coffee, I'm just streaming on YouTube at the moment. Uh, it doesn't. I have so I will get other platforms, which I've talked about, but at the moment I'm just streaming right now on YouTube. In 2001, the Federal Bureau of Investigation classified the Aryan Nations as a terrorist threat. In review of the terrorist organizations, Rand Corporation called it the first nationwide, terrorist network in the United States. All right, so that was the just give context about what Daisy was talking about. It's a neo-Nazi, a white supremacist group that was in that region. Okay, so let's see about any updates. All right, so continuing on, the arsonist people who set fires initially leave behind really characteristic clues of that nature, and he said that additionally that the deliberate blaze was certainly high up in the list possibilities right now. McCabe also praised the firefighters who called the shooting as remarkable. Quote, I'm so impressed the way they are able to kind of keep their cool under unbelievably intense and terrifying situation. They're identifying casualties. They are reporting about their ability to evacuate individuals, he said. Well, they literally pinned down behind the rig, which is, of course, is the truck. And there was a firefighter that was having surgery that survived. Okay. And officials won't deploy resources to extinguish the Canfield Mountain brush fire until the threat is neutralized. So they're not going to go and put the fire out until the situation is neutralized. And also another commentary about it. Oh, okay. Yeah, so the people were in the chat that you were seeing, yeah. Shout the chat. Almost like a battlefield scene. Former Boston Commissioner Ed Davis told CNN receiving a call that firefighters were under fire was the worst case scenario for law enforcement. The chilling audio made it clear that people on the ground in need of rescue, Davis said. Quote, you feel the firefighters that were calling that in because there were literally people that were bleeding to death on the ground, and there were pinned down behind their fire truck. So very troubling situation, like a battlefield scene. The the priority would now be removing or neutralizing the suspect that people could be taken to safety, he said. Clearly, if you have a chance to get medical help and evacuate people who are in the field of fire, you do that as quickly as possible, Davis said, but it remained a very dangerous situation. All right. All right, they had special agents and fire investigators with the Bureau of Alcohol and Tobacco Firearms and Explosives responding to the scene of the brush fire. And Shell said 30 years ago, CDA was a really nice place. Way too many people now. You know what, Shell? I see what you mean. It's like, there must have been a. Thank you for telling me about that. So, it must be like, when people from other places must have migrated there, and it must have, caused it to get out of hand like this. So basically, you're saying that 30 years ago it was a really nice place, okay, and then it changed. So too many people. Yeah, when you have a lot of people in a certain place, you could have a lot of bad people. So smaller communities of people, especially out in the in the countryside and places like that, smaller communities. Like when I was in Kentucky with my mom's aunt and uncle, they were a nice little community of people. So if you have too many people, like you could have all kinds of weirdos in there. So yeah, Shell, that makes sense. That makes sense. And I'm glad it was a better place back then. It makes sense. That it was better back then before all these people came in. I highly doubt 30 years ago something like this would have occurred. You know, so thank you, Shell, for the information. The the ATF special agents were investigating the responding to the brush fire scene. They had special agents and fire investigators with the Bureau of Alcohol Investigation, and where at least two people were fatally shot. And ATF special agents and certified fire investigators from the Spokane, Portland, and Seattle offices are responding to the scene and CDA to provide support. Seattle said in an expo Sunday. Hello, Shacky. Good to see you, buddy. All right, Shacky. So basically, that we are keeping up with this active shooting that's going on in Idaho, and it's a no-fly zone. They're not putting out the fire that started because they're trying to get the active shooters because they have like hunting rifles and they're shooting at fire department personnel. Two of them have been unalived, passed away, deleted, whatever you want to say, or killed, murdered, and the other ones, there's 7 people allegedly that are injured, and the snipers are monitoring the situation to get people out of harm's way, and it seems like Homeland Security is monitoring the situation too. Many different politicians have made commentary about it on social media, specifically X. Coffee says, wasn't there a kidnapping girl found there with a man at a restaurant? I remembering that right. And Shell says, yes, Shasta, her brother and mom, both friends were deleted. Okay. Closest thing that comes to my mind is Ruby Ridge. Yes, Shasta. I almost forgot about it. Oh, the first you heard. Yeah. So, kind of backtracking a little bit from the beginning, we have two people deleted as at least one active shooter still fires at law enforcement in Idaho catches up here. Okay, so two people were fatally shot and others injured in CDA, Idaho, as at least one active shooter continues to fire at law enforcement, according to the state officials. This is developing story. Here's what we know: two passed away, well, really two murdered. While responding to the brush fire, at least two people were fatally shot and others were injured, and Kootenai County Sheriff Robert Norris said at a news conference Sunday night. He said that they were still in the process of removing the people who have been murdered in the mountain. Oh, that's awesome, Gregatron. Trigon's an anime that it's my favorite anime, and I talk about it sometimes, and I'm glad that Gregatron's gonna be watching it. That's awesome. Facts. Active shooter. At least one active shooter is on the loose and continues firing at law enforcement, the sheriff said. We don't know there comes one or two or three or four shooters. They don't know how many they are at the time. Shelter in place. Kootenai County Emergency Management has instructed the residents in the area to shelter in place, advised others to avoid the area. The incident at the Canfield Mountain Natural Area, a 24-acre park on the east side of the city. Initial reactions: Idaho Gov. Brad Little urged the people to stay away from the area. Two local enforcement and firefighters. Oh, okay, Greg. Enjoy. Awesome. Brad Little urged people to stay away from the area to allow law enforcement and firefighters to their work. This is a heinous direct assault on the brave firefighters. Little said that on a post on X. Crapo urged that, quote, local residents follow the recommendations of law enforcement. My prayers with the victims and their responders and first responders. Shaki was here a moment ago. Daisy said, yes, Shell, sorry. Us people down south tend to have a less precise understanding of the geography. LO. The Ruby Ridge is the same general area. We got an update. Okay, we got this update right now, and it's something that Shell said before, but it just came through the media. So, man with firearm found dead, or I should say found deleted, as we like to say, on Canfield Mountain Sheriff's Office says. Man with firearm found deleted in Canfield Mountain Sheriff's Office says. All right. A deceased man was found in Canfield Mountain with a firearm nearby the Kootenai County Sheriff's Office said in a news release posted on Facebook Sunday night. Officials will disclose further details at a news conference scheduled for 9:30 p.m. local time. According to the release, the sheriff's office also said a shelter in place order has been lifted and an active wildfire remains on the mountain. Quote, residents in the area are advised to be prepared and ready and should further action be need to be taken, the release read. Officials previously said it was unclear how many shooters were firing on the firefighters police from the mountain. So there has been a deceased man that has been found, but they don't know how many shooters there were, if there are more of them hiding in the woods, or if that was just it. So this is breakthrough news right now. Facts. Oh, that's pretty cool, Shell. Uh, that is, very awesome, Shell. It sounds very fun. Nice. All right, so it looks like for at the moment it has 4 seats, and the grandkids can enjoy up to the mountains as well. Shell, y'all are gonna have a lot of fun with that. Y'all are gonna have a lot of fun with that. It sounds very exciting. You're welcome, Shell. Let's see. Going right here. Found dead on the Canfield Mountain. So, and hopefully that's it. You know, because hopefully there's not any more. Because I think it's absolutely atrocious, and also it's really cool that we're here watching it all unfold. And this update was from 3 minutes ago. Coffee, you did not offend anybody. You're doing great. And Coffee, I've been enjoying the commentary with you in chat, and you've been doing great with the chat tonight. I really appreciate it on your first time being here. So, man with firearm found deleted on Canfield Mountain Sheriff's Office says. All right. So as I said, hopefully that's the ending of it, and they could the smoke can clear literally and figuratively, and we can see what's how this all gets resolved. So, yeah, 5 minutes ago, man with firearm found deleted in the mountains, and further news conference will be scheduled for 9:30 p.m. local time. Well, we don't know if he took his own life or he took the lives, or if he was the sniper got him. I don't really know at the moment, but as the news unfolds, we will find out more. Oh, you're welcome, Coffee. Quote, this villainous attack on the people who dedicate their lives to protecting and serving communities is despicable. Not on Idaho, he went on to pray for the victims, their loved ones, and for justice. So we have this very intriguing situation. This was from one of the politicians. The U.S. Senator Jim Risch decries the villainous attack on firefighters. Thank you, Patrice. Shout out to you, Patrice. She says, "Hey, alien spaceship, good to see you. Just stop by to say hi. Happy space adventures." Thank you, Patrice. The alleged Idaho shooter has been found deleted with a firearm. So it seems like they may have caught the person. And thank you, Patrice, and good evening to you. Rulia says, "I've been listening. I'm playing with my dogs and just cut some branches in my yard." Oh, that's good, Rulia. That's good. I agree. The kind of person to do that is gross. Yeah, so it seems like so basically in more detail, a deceased man was found in Canfield Mountain with a firearm nearby, and the Kenotai County Sheriff's Office said news release posted on the Facebook night on Sunday. Yeah, maybe the guy deleted himself. Yeah, that's probably more likely. Officials will disclose further details at news conference scheduled for 9:30 p.m. local time, according to the release. The sheriff's office also said a shelter-in-place order has been lifted, but active wildfires remain on the mountain. Residents in the area advised to be prepared and ready should further actions need to be taken, and the release read, officials previously said it was unclear how many shooters were firing on the firefighters and police from the mountain. Yeah, people that do this are from Timu Sheen. Yeah, he probably took his own life. Yeah, show that is very cute. That's awesome. Nice family. They need to go outdoors and see the mountains and stuff. Shout out to Mary Toodles. And also, did you hear about the Idaho?
Sort of, yeah.
They just found the person. They probably took their own life.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're doing active updates about this. So okay. So it seems for now that they caught the person and the lockdown thing has been lifted, but the fire is still there. So hopefully they could go and put the fire out and get that taken care of. And so basically we were able to, like, during this live we went through this entire saga, you know, about this epic tragedy, this horrible horror movie, watching it unfold. Yeah. So I do think it's good for kids to get out and see the mountains and the nature wherever people are. It's good for the people to get outdoors because a lot of times they might get too into their tablets and things like that, and their iPads. So it's good to have a balance of both. Preferably, probably being outside is the best thing. All right. So shooting unfolding in popular hiking location. The shooting is unfolding in the Canfield Mountain. Yeah, and I also want to say prayers to the families of and prayers to the firefighters that lost their lives, and rest in peace to the firefighters. You know that they didn't deserve this. They were supposed to. They just like to help people. Okay, Rulia, thank you. It's a res 2. Okay, thank you. So yeah, rest in peace to the firefighters. It is, you know, they're just trying to like put out fires and stuff like that and help people in different situations. And I think it's quite unfortunate that these people did that. But hopefully they could find a manifesto or a reason behind this. They could dig into their social media and see like what the reasoning with this was. Because it's a complete clown show when people feel like they have to do stuff like this. It's completely atrocious. It's an abomination. It's blasphemy. All right, so it was like a battle scene. It was like a war zone. It was completely, you know, terrible for the people there and everything like that. So yeah. So as I said, rest in, for the people injured, that have a speedy recovery. Rest in peace to those that passed away. And as the further update would be to see what the press briefing is gonna be like when they do it over there, and it'll also be good to see what the motives were. So that would be the next step of the newest updates about it. Yeah. All right. So all right. So with I'll read a little bit about this region, and then it'll be the end of yeah. Good night, show. We will be ending this stream very shortly. We're about to be ending it. All right. But and I want to thank you all for being here. So since we're at the ending part, y'all can go. You know, if it's all good, you're not gonna really be missing anything. I'm going to talk a little brief segment of this um, article about history of this place of CDA, and then we'll end the stream for the night. Okay. So CDA has yeah, Rulia. They'll. I assume that the media will accuse. They'll probably do something like that. Yeah, they'll probably put politics into it. And when I think that, regardless of people think politically, that I don't think that any president or group of people had anything to do with it. I think it would be more of some other incident. But I do think the media will probably use it to some political advantage. I agree. CDA has grown significantly since the 1990s, in part because of a substantial increase in tourism encouraged by the resorts and recreational activities in the area, and the out migration predominantly from the western states. The CDA resort and its 0.75-mile floating boardwalk and a 165-acre natural area called the Tubbs Hill will take. Yes, yeah, right on, Rulia. They take up to a prominent portion of the city's downtown. Popular parks such as City Parks and Beach and McEwen Park are also fixtures of the downtown waterfront. The city has become somewhat the destination for golfers. There are 5 courses in the city, including the CDA Rose Golf Course and its unique 14th hole floating green. The CDA Casino and its circling Raven Golf Club is located approximately 27 miles south of the largest theme park in the northwestern United States. Southwood Theme Park is located approximately 20 miles north, and there are also several ski resorts and other recreation areas nearby. The city is home to the Museum of North Idaho and North Idaho College, and is becoming known as having one of the largest holding light shows the United States and hosting a popular iron triathlon events. And CDA is located in the route of Interstate 90 and is several by CDA Airport, as well as the Brooks Seaplane Base by air and print media, local issues, and covered by CDA Daily Newspaper. those, and it means those who are found here are the found ones. These Native Americans lived along the rivers and lakes of the region and territories of 4 million acres extending to the eastern of Washington Mountain and to Montana. These tribes primarily located in the villages and camps near food gatherings and processing sites. The camps featured chronicle lodges, construction from poles and from tool animal hides. CDA people, hunter gatherers, and practice subsistence hiding, hunting of wild game and finishing during the salmon runs, and then foraging berries and edibles the shore of numerous lakes and rivers. Area was explored by fur traders David Thompson of the Northwest Company, starting in 1807 to 1809. He established the Cooley Spell House trading in Lake Pend O'Reilly. Thompson, who usually used the native names and described the place of people that came across, he described the names as pointed hearts to one of the tribes and trades. Aurelia says that they're expert fishermen. Oh, that's good. That's good to know. It sounded like they would be. Especially, that's probably what the indigenous people did there, and that's what also the people did there always. So I'm glad to know about that fun fact. Name is Pointed Hearts to one of the tribes traded with Pointed Heart Lake, and they lived near. Since Thompson traveled to the French-speaking Iroquois guides and scouts, it has been speculated that it may have been the first referred to tribes as the Coeur d'Alene, as French was spoken language and Canadian fur trades. It is likely Pointed Hearts has origins in French transliteration, the heart in the middle of the al, meaning tribe and trades, the heart of the sharp and al. They were sharp businessmen. It's like a picture of it, like a depiction of it right there. Looks pretty cool. The Oregon boundary dispute arose in the result of competing British and American claims in the Pacific Northwest, North American. First half of the 19th century, British had trading ties extending from Canada and had started settlements at Fort Vancouver and Fort Astoria, the Pacific coast near the mouth of the Columbia River. Oregon Treaty of 1846 ended the disputed joint occupation of the area in present-day Idaho when British seceded all rights to land in south of 49th parallel the United States. Another territories dispute U.S. government, the Washington Treaty Territory Governor Isaac Stevens began negotiate treaties with that began move various tribes of the region onto reservation lands, way of American settlement. And the renegotiations continually reduced the tribal lands. And then over time, it got more, developed and built up. But I do like the land without that stuff also. And they had miners, prospectors came to the region. At the gold and silver deposits were found in the mountains and North Pacific Railroad Village in 1883. Village became location where ore from the mining district was ferried and transferred railroad steamboats and traveled down from CDA and Caltado Mission of township was officially incorporated by pension of August 22, 1887. All right. So, okay. So that is some information about this, where this tragedy occurred. It sounds like a very rich history. And it's very unfortunate that this happened, and hopefully more information could come out about it as time goes on. And we are ending the show. So I want to thank all of you for watching and tuning in, hitting the like button, and hanging out with us. Thank you all for your commentary, chat. we all make a great team. Wouldn't be the same without all of you. So wish all of you have a good week, and thank you all for coming and hanging out. And prayers to the firemen that passed away and people that are injured and traumatized by this tragedy, and may this never happen again anywhere. All right, and peace.